प्रातस्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वम् सच्चित् सुखं परमहं सगतिं तुरीयम् यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तिमवैति नित्यम् तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणाम् मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनम् पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानम् विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति. Hari Om. Welcome back to Gems of Bhagavad Gita. We'll continue from where we left off yesterday. So कल हमने वापस शुरुआत की थी सीजन के साथ, and we continued with chapter 12. Middle of chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga. इस chapter के शुरुआत में, in the beginning, अर्जुन एक question पूछता है. What is better? What kind of bhakti, what kind of worship is better? Is Nirakar Bhakti better or is Sakar Bhakti better? Is worshipping a form better? Is worshipping the formless better? And Bhagwan ने बड़ा interesting जवाब दिया था, which we covered yesterday, which we recapped yesterday, कि Arjun, Sakar Bhakti is better. Worshipping a form is better. The very fact that you're asking this question, the very fact that आपके मन में ये question है, ये comparison भी है, इसका ये मतलब है कि आपको साकार भक्ति की जरूरत है. अगर आप निराकारी हो, if you are capable of formless worship, you won't even ask this question, because you'll understand what ought to be worshipped is formless. Bhagwan जो है, God, is formless. God is not a person. God is not a form. God is not a thing that you can perceive and contact. But a form, an idol, a murti, a symbolism, a deity, all of these are representations of that formless. All of these are reminders of that formless. Through the form, you try to reach the formless. That's it. Why? Because directly reaching the formless, directly conceiving the formless is close to impossible. मूर्ति के द्वारा आपको प्रेरणा मिलती है, आपको एक कन्विक्शन मिलती है, आपको एक सहारा मिलता है. And 99.99% people need that sahara, need that support, need that reminder. So the very fact that Arjuna is asking this question, भगवान कहते हैं तुम्हारे लिए साकार भक्ति जरूरी है, is more important. And जो तुम्हारे लिए जरूरी है, वो तुम्हारे लिए अच्छा है. What is necessary for you is better for you. So which is better? Depends. For you, just as for 99% of people, Sakar Bhakti is important. You need reminders. The very fact that you're asking this question, it means that you need Sakar Bhakti. Someone who's qualified for Nirakar Bhakti will not even ask this question. Why? Because they'll understand the purpose of Sakar Bhakti. They'll understand that जिसे निराकार तक पहुंचने में मुश्किल होती हो, वो साकार का support ले सकता है. You can take the support of the form, just as you can take the support of the national flag to inspire yourself with nationalism. You can take the support. So, ये clarification हो गया. Then we got into yesterday. We got into the topic of the 4 stages of spiritual evolution. And how very interestingly Bhagwan, who always throughout the Gita, he always talks about the stages in progression. He always, whenever he talks about meditation, whenever he talks about the last stage of spiritual evolution, he always before that gives the preparation for it. Why? Because he clarifies. Someone who is a keen reader of the Bhagavad Gita will always recognize that before meditation comes preparation. ध्यान के पहले हमेशा वो कर्म भक्ति ज्ञान की बात करते हैं. यहां इस अध्याय में भगवान उल्टी क्रोनोलॉजी देते हैं. एंड इसका कारण है, वो उल्टी क्रोनोलॉजी देते हैं बिकॉज the very purpose of our practice. Why are we doing all of this? Why are we doing karma bhakti gnan? Why are we meeting in this classroom? Why are we singing bhajans? Why are we going to yatras? Why are we doing all of this? Because हमारा मकसद क्या है, हमारा गोल क्या है कि हम अपने मन को शांत करें और ध्यान के योग्य बने. We have to become qualified for meditation. That is the purpose, nothing else. The purpose of this knowledge, the purpose of any other spiritual practice is to, over a period of time, calm the mind. Calm the mind, douse the fires of the mind. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. The purpose of yoga is chitta vritti nirodha, to eradicate the agitations of the mind, the disturbances of the mind, the distractions of the mind, so that you can become qualified for meditation. That's the purpose. So that is the ultimate practice. Agar aap yogya ho to wo karo. If you are qualified, if your mind is completely calm, if your mind is completely equanimous, if your intellect is strong, then please, by all means, meditate, because that is the ultimate practice. That is what you're supposed to do. Nothing else. But the rare person is qualified. The rare person is capable. And it is not something you can buy your way through. You have to put in your effort. You have to put in concerted, sincere effort. Bahunam janmanam ante. I don't want to demoralize you, but that capability comes in a person. Bahunam janmanam ante. After a lot of sincere effort. After a lot of sincere effort. On the one hand, I don't want to demoralize you. On the other hand, I also want to inspire you. The very fact that we are discussing this, the very fact that you are interested in this, the very fact that you've come to this classroom means you're capable and you're almost there. How many people want to study this? How many people want to discuss this knowledge? How many people even want to talk about meditation, self-realization? How many people want to know the deeper messages of the Gita, to want to find out the deeper purpose of life? The very fact that you yourself, I have not dragged you here, I have not called you here, I'm not giving you any incentive to be here. This subtle subject, you yourself have come at 7 o'clock in the morning to study this. The very fact that you're here means you are quite prepared. You just have to put in a little more effort. Compared to all the effort you have already put in. Compared to all the effort you have already put in from all your janmas. The very fact that you're sitting here means a lot of effort has gone in. You've not landed here by accident. You've not developed this vasana, this ichha for spiritual knowledge by accident. The fact that you've landed here and staying here. Many people come, okay, let me try it out. Acha, you guys are also going to this class. Let me also join you. Some people are like that. They come just to try it out. That's also okay. But the very fact that you've come and you've stayed, and you've come again and again. I see a lot of people are here month after month. You must be here year after year. We've been having these morning classes. The very fact that you've stuck to it means that your vasana is not a casual interest. So on the one hand, it takes a lot of effort. On the other hand, you have already put in a lot of effort. A little more effort is required. A little more compared to all that you have put in. So you can do it. You can achieve that state of meditation. That is your birthright. It's your capability. You can achieve that state with a little more effort. So if you can, please do that. If not, abhyasa yoga, practice it. Try to become disciplined and make some time for abhyasa of meditation. Try as much as you can. Try as much as you can. Don't force it. Don't force it. Try as much as you can. A few minutes a day at least. Sit in quiet solitude. Try to dismiss all thoughts. It's a very good practice. It's a very good practice. More than practicing meditation, what is very helpful also is to prepare for meditation. Before we sit in meditation, what do we say? First of all, we sit up straight, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the body, closing the eyes, and breathing evenly. Relaxed breathing. With the eyes closed, we try to keep the mind vacant of all thoughts. Here, to keep the mind vacant of all thoughts, the intellect needs to become sakshi. Your intellect, your buddhi, needs to have that awareness. If any thought enters, gently dismiss it. Neti, neti. I don't want to have anything to do with that thought. And you'll only be able to remove that thought if you have something to plant your thought on. So what do you plant your thought on? You plant your thought on the mantra. Whatever mantra you have been given, whatever mantra you're going to chant as a reminder of God, as a reminder of the self. Your intellect dismisses thoughts by keeping your mind on the thought of the mantra. Just that practice of dismissing thoughts that enter, not engaging with any distractions. Try it for a couple of minutes a day, a few minutes, 5-10 minutes. It's a very good practice. But what do you do with the rest of the day? You can't do abhyas all day. If you could do abhyas all day, you might as well meditate. You're qualified for meditation. So what do you do with the rest of the day? So that's what we learned yesterday, that if you are not able to do abhyas all day, if you're not qualified for meditation, even then, don't worry. Even then, don't worry. He says the third stage, or rather the second stage, going backwards. Fourth stage is meditation. Third stage is abhyas. Second stage is consider my action as supreme. What do you do with the rest of your day? You have all sorts of activities to do. You have all sorts of obligations, responsibilities, things to fulfill. Act as an instrument. Act as an instrument. Act as a spoke in the wheel. Act as someone simply fulfilling the will of God, the will of nature, as it were. I have been designed to do this. Let me do it to the best of my ability. No prefix, no suffix. I don't want anything out of this. I don't want anything out of this. I am simply fulfilling Bhagavad Ichha. I am simply doing what I have been designed to do. My maker has designed me to do this. Let me do it to the best of my ability. And no prefixes. There's no arrogance of I am doing it. Why? Because my maker has made me. If I don't do it, someone else will do it. My maker will make someone else. God has a great manufacturing facility. मुझे जैसे मैन्युफैक्चर किया, किसी और को मैन्युफैक्चर कर देंगे और शायद मेरे से बेहतर मैन्युफैक्चर कर देंगे. So why have that ego? Why have that sense of doership? Regarding God's action, Bhagavan says, regarding my action as supreme, perform action for my sake. Thy will be done, not my will be done. Right now, we are performing actions for our own sake. with all sorts of ichha, with all sorts of expectation, with all sorts of asha, hopes, expectations. So I'm only trying to bring your attention to this itself is a very high state of being. This is called selfless activity. This is called selfless activity. Selfless activity is where you have surrendered to the plan of nature. You have surrendered to the plan of nature. You understand that you are merely a spoke in the wheel. There's no end to your own ichhas. Simply do what you have been designed to do. You have come here with a purpose. Simply play your role and get out. Simply play your role and get out. If you're not capable of that mindset as well, if you're not capable of that attitude, if you're not ready for that attitude as well, he says, even then, don't worry. And this is what we concluded with yesterday. He said, even if you're not capable of that mindset, don't worry. You can still be spiritual. If you're unable to do that as well, then taking refuge in the union with me, renounce the fruits of all actions, self-control. If you're incapable of selfless action, don't worry. Perform self-controlled actions. What is self-controlled action? Self-controlled action, first of all, there is an ultimate goal in mind that you have. There is ultimate goal in mind that you have. In this case, goal of union with me, he says, union with God. Self-realization, that's your ultimate goal. And you have that at the back of your mind. You've been hearing it day after day, month after month, in these classes, in your discussions, in your study. You've been hearing it. That is your purpose in life. Plant that goal at the back of your mind. You may not be ready to take the plunge all the way. You may not be ready for the last step, but have it at the back of your mind. And with that inspiration, perform self-controlled actions. What is self-controlled actions? Self-controlled action is where you control your craving, your attachment for the result. Yes, I cannot control my desires. There are so many desires forcing me to act in the world. Well, let me do one thing. Let me try to control my craving for the result. And this is what we discussed yesterday. Remember, I clarified. Renouncing the fruit of action doesn't mean giving up the fruit. Doesn't mean not having a desire for the result. No, that's not what it means. Renouncing the fruit means giving up your attachment for the fruit, giving up your craving for the fruit. Understanding that, yes, I need to deserve, not desire. If I want something, let me focus on the effort I need to put in. Let me focus on what I ought to do. Simply begging, simply asking, simply wanting, simply craving will not help. And this is the madness. We have turned spirituality into begging, into asking. We have turned bhakti we have turned worship into begging, into asking. The practice is exactly opposite. The very first stage of worship is not begging or asking. The very first stage of worship is doing what I ought to do. Putting in the effort to deserve, not simply desire. The very first stage of worship is earning, not craving or wanting. If you earn it, if you put in the effort, if you do the right action, the result will automatically follow. That's the guarantee. And if not the result you want, an even better result will follow. But you have to have that attitude of renouncing your attachment for the fruit. The way to gain anything is to lose it. The way to get anything, you want it, you want the result. The way to get it, how do you get it? Swami Ramatirtha says, the way to gain anything is to lose it. Lose what? The way to gain anything is to lose the attachment for it, is to lose the uncontrolled craving for it, the thirst for it, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your relationships. The more you detach yourself from that result and simply work on doing your obligation, on doing what you're supposed to do, on the right action, you will get it. It will come to you. Profits will come to you. Joys and happiness will come to you. But the point is, we don't focus on what we need to do. What we focus on is what we want. You don't focus on the action. We only want the result. And if we don't get the result, or if the result is not going our way, we simply get worried, anxious, tensed, upset. You take care of your body, health will come to you. And when health doesn't come, we get upset, we get afraid, we get worried. Hey, Baba, you're not putting in the effort. You're not putting in the right action to get health. You're only sitting and complaining, I'm not healthy. You're only sitting and being worried. You put in the right action, and it's not easy. You put in the effort. It requires the effort. So that's the first stage of worship. Deserving, not desiring. Deserving, not desiring. If you're unable to do all of that other stuff, if you're unable to meditate and do abhyasa or dedicate all your actions to God, even if you're not able to conceive all of that, this is the first step. You want to be spiritual? Are you being spiritual? This is how to measure yourself. It doesn't matter where you go, what you do. It doesn't matter how many char dhams and how many temples you visit. It doesn't matter how many scriptures you know backwards. What is your attitude in action? What is your attitude in your day-to-day activities? This ought to be your attitude. Then alone are you being spiritual. Then alone are you worshiping. So the point is, we highlight the non-essentials. In the spiritual path, we highlight the non-essentials. We highlight external activities. We don't highlight internal qualities. What matters on the spiritual path is not external activity. What matters is internal quality. What matters is internal attitudes. What matters is internal motives. Where is your thought? What is the quality of your feelings and emotions? What are the qualities of your thoughts and ideas? That is what makes you spiritual, nothing else. And this thought beautifully moves into the next portion of this chapter, the concluding portion of this chapter, which is called the 35 qualities of a bhakta. Who is a true bhakta? Who is a true devotee of God? How do you measure devotion in a person? Is it by the number of prayers and scriptures and parts he knows? Is it by the number of years he has been keeping a fast on Monday or Tuesday or God knows what? Is it by the number of meals he's eating? Is it by where he is staying? Is it by the clothes he is wearing? No. None of these. None of these. None of these are a necessary qualification. None of these are a certain qualification. It doesn't mean that if you're doing this, you'll automatically become bhakta. Beautifully, he defines in the next 7-8 verses the 35 qualities of a bhakta. We won't take all of them up, but we'll get a taste of it. The idea in these gems of Bhagavad Gita is to get a taste of what the Lord is trying to say, what Bhagavan is trying to say. He says, a true bhakta is one who has these 35 qualities. You measure devotion by these gunas in you. If you possess these qualities, it means you're a true devotee. And these qualities are a result of your effort. These qualities come over a period of time when you put in that effort, when you practice the yogas. So what are these qualities? Very interesting. And automatically you can get an idea of where you stand. Automatically you can get an idea, okay, how much of a bhakta am I? That this serves two purposes. One thing is to get a sense, okay, where do I stand? The extent to which you can relate to these qualities, the extent to which you identify these qualities in yourself, to that extent you can place yourself as a true devotee. The extent to which you acknowledge that you don't have these qualities, कि आप में ये गुण नहीं है, it means to that extent you are far from true bhakti. On the same hand, on the other hand, another thing that is important, what these 35 qualities help us do is, it helps inspire us. From these 35 qualities, you can maybe be inspired by 5 or 6. The beauty of them is, if you develop one, you develop all. These qualities are complementary. You develop one, you will develop all. It's not that you can have one quality and not the others. And as we study it, you'll get to see how they are interrelated. It's not that they are separate qualities. They are mentioned as 35 distinct qualities from different ways, so that you get inspired. You will get inspired by a few of them. Whatever you are inspired by, you try and inculcate in your life. You try and inculcate in your personality. You try and implement. You remember in your day-to-day life, what are these qualities that inspire you? And when you remember them and slowly implement them, that's when you see all the other qualities also grow in you. And automatically you progress on the path of being a true devotee. So devotion is not about all these other external things. Devotion is not about whether you're doing sakar bhakti or nirakar bhakti. Beautifully, this chapter ends, concludes with these 35 qualities, also driving home a point that, Arjuna, what you were asking in the beginning of the chapter, that doesn't matter. Don't worry whether you're doing sakar bhakti or nirakar bhakti and all these things. Focus on developing these qualities. If your spiritual practices, if your devotion, if your puja part is taking you closer to these qualities, stick to that. They are taking you on the right path. And if whatever you're doing is not helping you develop these qualities, it's time for you to think. It's time for you to think. What is it that you're doing? What is the effort that you're putting in? So the 35 qualities of a bhakta, which is what we'll take up in verse number 13. So 13 to 20, the 8 verses that we're talking about, cover these 35 qualities. We won't take all of them up. We'll take a few. We'll get a taste of it. And then we'll conclude this chapter. So verse number 13 of chapter 12, starting with the 35 qualities of a bhakta. Adveshta sarva bhutanam Maitrah karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukhakshami adveshta sarva bhutana Maitrah karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukhakshami. We'll also chant 14 and 15 together, because they're all talking about the same flow of thought. It's all covering the qualities in progression. So we'll chant 14 and 15 as well. Santushtas satatam yogi yatatma dridha nishchayaha mayyarpita mano buddhihi yo madbhaktas same priyaha. Santushtas satatam yogi yatatma dridha nishchayaha Mayyarpita mano buddhihi yo madbhaktas same priyaha. Yasmano dvijate lokaha lokano dvijate chayaha harsha marsha bhayo dvegaihi mukto yassacha me priyaha. Yasmano dvijate lokaha lokano dvijate chayaha harsha marsha bhayo dvegaihi mukto yassacha me priyaha. So he begins the enumeration of these qualities, the 35 qualities of a bhakta, with an incredible quality. And we'll first read the translation before taking them up. Sarva bhuto se dvesh na karne wala, मित्र करुणा और ऐसे ही क्षमाशील ममता और अहंकार रहित सुख दुख में समान, संतुष्ट नित्य योगी, अपने आप को वश में रखने वाला, दृढ़ निश्चयवान और मुझ में अर्पण हुई बुद्धि और मन वाला, जो मेरा भक्त है वह मुझे प्यारा है. And in 15 he continues to say, जिससे संसार उद्वेग नहीं करता और जो संसार से उद्वेग नहीं करता, तथा जो हर्ष क्रोध भय और उद्वेग से मुक्त हो, वह मुझे प्रिय है. So he says, not hating any being, friendly, compassionate, free from attachment and egoism, balanced in pleasure and pain, forgiving, ever perfectly content, a yogi, a self-controlled, firm conviction with mind and intellect dedicated to me. He, my devotee, is dear to me. And he continues, by whom the world is not agitated, by who is not agitated by the world, who is freed from joy, envy, fear, and anxiety. He is dear to me. So in these 15 verses, also in these 3 verses, he's covered 15 qualities. It's simply an enumeration and it gives you an idea. आप सोच रहे होंगे, oh my God, ये सब मैं कैसे करूंगा, मैं कैसे करूंगी, हाँ? How will I have all these qualities? Oh my God. Don't worry. Even from these 15, there are 20 more. If there is anything that inspires you, you focus on that. You pick up 1 or 2 qualities and you focus on that, and the rest will follow. It's not possible that you'll only have one and not the other. They are all complementary qualities. They are all related to each other. So what is he saying? The first quality of a bhakta, and perhaps the most incredible quality, adveshta sarva bhutanam. Adveshta sarva bhutanam, not hating any being. जिसे किसी भी जीव जंतु से, किसी भी आदमी से, किसी से भी कोई द्वेष ना हो. देखिए, प्यार करना आसान है. प्यार करना आसान है, द्वेष ना करना मुश्किल है. It's very easy to love. Any incentive you get, you can love. Selfish people love a lot of things. Whatever will help them, they love it. So it's not very easy to love, but it's relatively easy to love. It's very difficult not to hate. Something or the other is always going to be there that will cause you to feel a sense of resentment, a sense of anger, a sense of hatred. There will always be something or the other. Not hating that is difficult. And so यहाँ पे भगवान एक qualification देते हैं. You want to be a true bhakta? The first quality of a true devotee, the first quality of a devotee of the Lord, not hating any being. There is nothing in this world, there is nobody in this world, no matter how good or bad, that you feel a sense of resentment for, that you feel a sense of hatred for. It's a very, very high state. It's a very, very high state of being. You'll only be able to not hate anyone when you have no expectations. When you have no expectations. You'll only be able to not hate anyone when you understand everybody is helplessly expressing their nature. Guna guneshu vartante. Everybody's got their gunas and they are helplessly manifesting their qualities. They're helplessly manifesting their gunas. A snake, no matter how vicious it is helplessly expressing its gunas. A tiger, no matter how vicious it is helplessly manifesting its gunas. The most ghastly of creatures are simply helplessly manifesting their gunas. You don't hate a tiger. Why don't you hate a tiger? You don't hate a tiger because you understand it is a tiger. It is what it is, its nature is. So every being, we understand what is its nature, and we make that allowance. We don't have a sense of resentment for it. Only in the case of human beings, only in the case of human beings, we develop a sense of hatred. Hmm. A thief is a thief. A thief is a thief. A thief is helplessly expressing his nature, his weaknesses. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. If you can help the thief, you can help reform the thief. Hmm? If you can help reform the thief, if you can inculcate some good qualities in them, by all means, help it. Hmm? But why are you having that sense of hatred? Why are you having that sense of resentment? Why are you having that sense of judgment? Most people, we have a sense of hatred for, because they're not giving us what we want. Most people we have a sense of hatred for because something they may have hurt us. I'm not trying to belittle your hurt. I'm not trying to say what they did is right, or what they did is okay, or what they did is justified. No. But you must understand, everybody is helplessly expressing their nature. Whatever action you have to take against them, please take. Don't go soft on that. I'm talking about the feeling you bear inside you. The feeling you bear inside you. Do you have that sense of surrender in life? That sense of surrender to nature, to understand everybody has been given their gunas. They are simply helplessly expressing it. You yourself have so many good qualities and bad qualities in yourself. Can you control it? No matter how, suppose you're lazy. I'll give you an example. Suppose you're lazy by nature. It's so difficult to not be lazy. Huh? It's so difficult to not be lazy. If that's your nature, you have to put in a lot of effort. And even after putting in a lot of effort, come back, that tendency, that quality, it keeps coming back. Why? Because those vasanas, that tamas in you is deeply ingrained. It takes a lot of effort. We're only asking you to have some empathy. Whatever vasanas a person has, they helplessly, forcefully manifest, express in that person. The best of people, the worst of people. So that understanding is what helps you develop no hate. No hate. That's what helps you extinguish any resentment. कबीरा खड़ा बाजार में सबकी मांगे खैर, ना काहू से दोस्ती, ना काहू से बैर. हम ऐसा नहीं कह रहे हैं कि सबसे दोस्ती कर लो, सबको प्यार करो, ना काहू से दोस्ती, but at the same time ना काहू से बैर. सबकी मांगे खैर, सबकी खैर मांगो, सबका भला हो. जिनमें कुछ कमियां हैं, जिनमें कुछ खराब गुण हैं, भगवान उनका भी ख्याल रखे. May the Lord help them get out of those negative qualities. May the Lord help them grow. I was at the receiving end. See, you feel anger and resentment towards someone, you feel hatred towards someone. Why? Because you were at the receiving end of their negativity. It could have been anyone. If not you, somebody else would have been at the receiving end. It could have been anyone. But you feel resentment. Why? Because it was you. उसने आपके साथ गलत किया, इसलिए आपको गुस्सा आता है, इसलिए आपको you feel hate. The bottom line is it's being done to you. So when you have that understanding, they have to express their nature. Let nature take care of them. Hopefully they change. It could have been with anyone. Anyone could have been at the receiving end of their negativity. Anyone could have been cheated by them. It's simply that I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, it's okay. Let's move on. That attitude will help you control any hate. And that's the first quality of a bhakta. Not hating any being. Why? Because he understands He has surrendered to the plan of nature. He understands nature will take its course. Nature will take its course. That is belief in God. What else is belief in God? There is an ordainer. There is a master. There is something that is controlling and managing and taking care of all of this. Let him take care of it. Let me focus on my work. Let me focus on my work. And it will be taken care of. Not hating any being, a very, very high quality. Uske baad, he says, friendly and compassionate. Someone who is friendly with one and all. Who has a spirit of service and helping towards everyone. Sabki mange khair. He's not friends with everyone. सबका जिगरी दोस्त यार नहीं बनता है, but he is friendly with everyone. सबकी खैर मांगता है, सबकी सहायता करना चाहता है, wants to genuinely, if he can support something, if he can help someone, if he can give someone some support, he does it. He has the best interest for all. He has no negative interest for anyone, and he is truly compassionate. Karuna. He is truly compassionate. Such a person, a true bhakta, has a compassion for all beings. He can understand. He has that empathy to understand what the other person is going through, where the other person is coming from, and help them. That sense of awareness, free from attachment, nirmama, no sense of mindness. No sense of mindness. Nothing is mine. Everything belongs to the Lord. Nothing is mine. We are all children of God. Even my child is the child of God, not mine. I am simply a trustee of my child. I am simply a trustee of my wealth. Everything belongs to God. God has only made me a trustee of a few things. There are billions and billions and trillions of things in this world. I have been given 100 things. Why? God has made me a trustee of them. No attachment to them. No egoism, no sense of mindness, no sense of I. Balanced in pleasure and pain. Understanding that the world will go through its flux of change. There will be good, there will be bad. There will be profit, there will be loss. Maintaining a sense of equanimity in this pleasure and pain. Kshami, forgiving. Someone who is forgiving. Relating to what we were talking about, not hitting any being. Forgiveness is a very, very high quality. Forgiveness is a result of growth. Forgiveness is a result of growth. So what is forgiveness? It'll take us some time to cover it. It's not something that we can cover in 1 or 2 minutes. So with that thought, I will leave you, and we will take up these qualities in little more detail and a few more qualities, starting with forgiveness. We'll take up these qualities tomorrow at 7 a.m. And hopefully, having gone through a couple of these qualities and having communicated the message, we'll be in a position to conclude this chapter and move ahead on our journey. So with that thought, see you again tomorrow. Here ends today's class. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.